Well, guys, we're going along here on this N14. We got the new cam. There's the gears on the new cam. You guys have seen me do those before. I've got a 20-ton air over hydraulic jack in my press, and then I just take, I put a pretty good significant amount of tension on it, and it'll really pop when it comes. It'll bang, you know, and the whole press will jump. But it's almost, some of these will take almost 15 good 20 tons, and this one here galled a little bit when it come off the end of the shaft. It kind of galled and took some of the material off the shaft with it, but the actual female portion of the gear was fine. But some of that stuff that was sticking out that it peeled off the shaft, I would really recommend cleaning that up so the gear goes on the new shaft okay. So I got a flapper wheel on my die grinder. You don't want to get real aggressive with it and try to take material off the actual female side of the cam gear. Just get the burr off that come off the shaft, the old shaft. That way it's a nice clean fit. And then I take the gear and put it in the oven and 300 degrees for 30-45 minutes. Get it a good nice even temperature. And 9 times out of 10 they'll just slide right on, which this one did. It just slid right on. So, and then once it cools up and shrinks up, it's there for good. So I'm putting cam bearings in, and I just wanted to, I'll show you one installation on one of these. So on these N14s, you got to pay attention to what you're doing on these. You'll see that on the back of the cam, but this is the little paper that came with the new cam bushings. On the back of the cam bushings, printed in 1/4-inch characters are numbers of the block cam bore in which the particular bushings may be used. Installing the bushings in the wrong location can result in severe engine damage. And of course, you want to make sure your holes are lined up. So after installation, the bushings should be checked to be sure that the oil holes and the cam bushings line up with the oils in the block. The locating slots have been moved 90 degrees toward the cylinder number 1 through 6 cam bushings. The locating slot on number 7 bushing remains at the bottom. So they're telling you the locating slots have been moved 90 degrees toward the cylinder number 1, toward the cylinder. So yeah, which I've got the number 6 in there already. Anyway, these are all numbered. This is number 7, obviously. Number 7 is completely different than all the rest of them, so you don't want to get that one mixed up. And back here, you'll say 1, 2, 4, 6. And then these actually go, the wider, these are wider. They're unique to their own hole, and they'll go in 3 or 5. And they've only got 1 oil hole in them. Where's the other one at? Should be another wide one here somewhere. There should be another one right here. Yeah, number 3 or 5. So anyways, I got a hole lined up right there, or I got a paint mark on the actual oil hole. And the locating notch that they're talking about is right here. This is the locating notch. And they don't really tell you whether to put it towards the front or the back. I'm just doing them like they came out. So what I'm doing, basically, I took a paint marker, and I just draw a line down where my oil hole is. And then I draw a line down this one to where this oil hole is going to be orientated straight out. That way I can see everything. Yeah, there's only 1 hole in these to feed these bushings. So anyway, I'm going to pull that back a little further. Don't want to drop it down in the pan. Well, try to get it in there just as snug as you can possibly get it by hand. And then you shove your bushing driver. You're probably not going to be able to see nothing with this damn wiring harness in the way. try not to twist. What I do is just, before I even snug this up, because what'll happen is you'll try to snug this up, and you can't really hold the nut on the end because it won't, it's not sticking out far enough. So even though it's not quite centered in there right, what I do is just kind of start the bushing in the hole. That way when I do want to tighten that up, it doesn't twist that bushing on me. And then that'll misalign my oil feed hole. Okay, now that bushing shouldn't twist on me. It should be started. Now I should be able to, the bushing itself, now I'm tightening this up, and see the bushing itself is holding the tool to where it'll expand. I don't know if that's doing any good. So start hammering on it. And you'll notice the bushing driver has a cone that sits down here in the end of the bore that will center the tool in the bore. So what I do is I try to hold it with this hand and then kind of like that. That way the bushing driver doesn't, the stud doesn't bounce back on me. Okay, we'll keep on going. Okay, she's going. She's going on in. Sometimes it's kind of hard to make them not bounce, and then, of course, I'm not very good at slinging with my left hand either. So, well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and beat this one on in and do the other 5, but I just wanted to go over that with you. If you ever get one of these, make sure you read that piece of paper. If you get this from Cummins, that comes with the bushing, so you don't just wipe your ass with it and throw it in the shitter. Read it. So one of these cam follower housing, Tom brought all the parts and he bought the wrong gaskets. These are 042, which are 42 thousandths thick, and the ones that's what was in it, and he bought 32 thousandths. So the right ones are supposed to be in tomorrow, but I wanted to keep going as far as I could, and this one cam follower, somebody changed it and had a new gasket on it. So I took that one, it was really good shape, so I took the new one and put it on this first one. That way at least I could get the front cover, I could get everything timed and get it in there and get the front cover on and try to get as much done as I possibly can. But it's amazing to me, I was sitting there, people are mind-boggling, you know. So this guy gets on there and starts rattling on about how Cummins has a special wrench. What do you think that is? And I was sitting there using that, trying to get that out during the video, and he's sitting there telling me Cummins has a special wrench for that. What do you think that is? You know, these guys will watch about 2 seconds of it, and then they'll get to a part about something that they know, and then they got to comment about it. Instead of watching the whole video and having the whole story at hand, no, they just jump the gun, and it's just irritating. I know, I probably shouldn't even read them. God dang people, man. Absolutely mind-boggling. Of course, so you're going to put your cam in there, and then you'll line your 2 zeros up. I got them marked there. But then you've got to rotate your crankshaft in normal rotation, which is clockwise from the front, counterclockwise from the rear. And then you'll line up the 2 marks on the accessory drive. So here's another thing that I've run into. This little key here, I've seen those missing before. And I've seen guys put the pulley on there and not have the accessory drive pulley. Well, that's keyed for a reason. I mean, somehow they've lost that. I've seen it before. It wasn't even in there. I had one time on a big Cam 400, and and I was trying to run the valve lash on it. It was so goofy. I mean, just goofy. I could not figure out what the hell was going on, why things weren't turning out right, you know, in the rotation and the valve arrangement. And I finally tore it apart and found that was missing, and some shithead had just shoved the accessory drive on there just anywhere, you know. So of course I went and got the right thing and put it in there and put it together right, and of course then it was timed. And then we ran the valve lash on it and it turned out just fine. But I think the owner was trying to run the valve lash on it, and it was a truck that he had bought somewhere, and he said that he ran the valve lash and he said it ran worse than it did. It's because somebody had pulled a good one on him. It happens, man, on these old Cummins. You know, that one there actually needs to go down here, because that's where that bracket went. And then he got the wrong push rods. He bought, as soon as he dropped the parts off and I looked at them, I said, those are injector push rods, those aren't valve push rods. Shit, he says. I was kind of hoping to pull a long day and get this thing running and get it out of here. I gotta get this hay squeeze done because the haying season's coming quick. I gotta put some hours in and get that thing knocked out and get her done. That's all there is to it. I probably could have just grabbed a regular end wrench for this, but didn't think about it when I was over at the toolbox. Oh well. Get this bolt on there. Make sure you put your cam sensor in after you put your cam follower on the #1 cam follower. After you put it in, put your cam sensor in, then put your accessory drive in, because it's just a hell of a lot easier if you don't want to get that special socket out. Torque is on these, but we're just going to get them good and tight for now. It's like when you're running the overhead on one of these N14s, even the big cams, Cummins doesn't use valve overlap as a way of knowing where you're at on valve lash. That's why it's critical to have the ABC marks and everything lined up correctly on the accessory drive. That way you're running your valve lash and you're in the right spot. It's not like the cats or most other things where you can go off, you know, even if you don't quite know what if you got a crank damper or something that you can't see the marks on a cat, you can just, or you don't really want to pin the flywheel. I've done them 100 times, and I just go off valve overlap. I'll have to get an extension in the socket to get that one back there. But we're in time now on the accessory drive. So now, I can clean the rest of this up. Boy, it's been tough getting this stuff off of here, man. Holy cow. Got some more to do down here, and I got some to do here. We'll have to silicone these corners, and then put the front cover back on it. Looks like my jack leaked off because this is way down here and it needs to be way up here. Well, guys, we're going together with this. I haven't videoed much of this because it's just been, the last couple days, it's just been absolute chaos. I mean, every time I get started on this, I get called out in the field. I got to go back out there, come back, and try to. And this guy's He's one of them guys, you know, it just amazes me, to be honest with you, that, you know, these guys that always want to go cheap, but they're always in a hurry. You know, they don't like to pay, or they sit there and bitch about everything that you spend on their old worn out truck. And this guy here, he's going to pay in full. And I told him on the phone, you're going to pay in full. And I says, if you bring a check, I says, I don't know you. You're from Washington State. You're quite a ways away from where I'm at. You're not one of my home people here. So you're gonna, if you bring a check, we're gonna make sure the funds clear before you even take the truck. I said, either that or you're gonna bring a cashier's check or cash. Some guy left a comment on there and he couldn't believe that I wouldn't warranty this job. What do you mean you can't believe that I wouldn't warranty a job that a guy doesn't want to get the proper parts to do the proper repair? So now you want me to be liable for that? So no, I'm not going to be on the hook for that. If you want warranty, then maybe you need to buy the proper parts to do the proper repair. How's that sound? I got to go get a light. And that's the way some of these people are, guys. They go cheap on you, or you get a certain element of people that bring something to a mechanic, or let's see here, and they already know what's wrong with it before you even get started. They already know what's wrong with it. They're going to tell you all about it, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, then why didn't you do it, you son of a bitch? Fix it yourself if you know so much, But don't bring it to me. I ain't got time for your shit. You already know everything. So, anyway. Yeah, these people expect you to do everything for nothing, Well, I'm sorry. You know what? It's called skilled labor. So, you know what? Get your checkbook out, monkey. I'm not out in the fields pulling weeds, fucker. I have what they call a skill, which a lot of these people that don't possess. I know I sound cynical, but people have made me that way through all their bullshit, Anyway, another rant. Sometimes the rants go awry. Okay, let's get this thing set. So, little overview here. So, rocker boxes. Okay, I only pulled this back rocker box to get that push rod out. New gasket there. Put your rocker box on. You'll have to put your injector hold down on there too. Injectors are torqued 30 foot-pounds. Put your rocker box on. The rocker box are torqued down to, I'm trying to remember, 85? No? Yeah, 85. That's right, 85 foot-pounds. And then rocker shafts, torques are 115 foot-pounds. So yesterday when I got everything in the valve train all back in it, I could not get it to turn over. I left the adjusters the way they were, and you couldn't even turn it over because they had them all so far out of whack that it wouldn't even turn over. I need to make sure that this one down here, the push rod is in the hole. I think it is. So anyway, so I'm on number 1 now. I know that for certain. And on these N14s, you adjust your valve. When you're adjusting your valves, you adjust the injector on the same cylinder. So let's go ahead and adjust the valves. I can find the feeler gauge. What the hell did I do with that? That'd be a mighty fine question. Interesting. Hang on, guys. I got a feeler gauge out. I know I did. And all of a sudden, it's not here. Did I leave it on the back of the truck or something? Get the camera to maybe stand here somewhere. I don't know if I can see that or not. But anyways, 14 and 27. So exhaust are on the outside. Intakes are on the inside. Injectors. So let's go to 14 on the intakes first. Clean the grease off the feeler gauge, maybe where I can read it. 14. We're going to be doing number 1. Yeah, he's partially rounded off all the nuts on it, and I really think the owner's the one who did this. I really do. I mean, he had a partly disassembled, you know, on the side of the road, and okay, so there's 14 on that one. Exhaust 27. I'm actually putting them, I fold them back up every time because I've caught myself doing it in the past where I've had my head up my ass and didn't, and I set, you know, I had both feeler gauges out to separate them from the pack there, and then wound up setting an exhaust an intake spec and vice versa. So I just do them one at a time so I don't screw myself and cost myself more time. Okay, that one's tight. Now the injector. So injector is going to be, what you want to do is they tell you to run them down and bottom the plunger out to remove excess fuel and all that stuff, which is what we'll do. And you don't want to just, don't get too carried away when that injector bottoms out and start really hammering on it and torquing on it. You can damage the injector that way. I think Cummins tells you it only go to like 25 inch-pounds, so that's good enough right there. So I'm going to run it out, and I'm going to come back in. It's good enough. And back it out 2 flats, which is 120 degrees. So this point right here, I've got a paint marker. Basically, here's a flat right here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a mark right there on the rocker, and then I got this flat, 1, 2. Let's see, that's actually, I'm wrong about that. 1 flat, 2 flats. This flat here is the one I want to line up with that. And there's 2 flats, 120 degrees. Good and tight. Now, take the good old big breaker bar here and rotate the accessory drive pulley to the B mark, which is going to be 2 or 5. And remember, Cummins doesn't do valve overlap on their settings, so you got to remember that. Where we at here? Where is the B mark at? There's B. Now, obviously we did number 1. We'd be doing number 5 now. Okay. 153624 is your fire now. Remember, your exhausts are on the outside, intakes on the inside. So I still got my 27 thousandths feeler gauge out. So now I will do the exhaust on number 5. Okay, there's that one. On these, I really like to get the box end on the jam nut, if I can. The open end has a tendency to slip off and round the nut off. So now let's do the 14 thousandths one. It's 15 or 14 go. Come on. Cluster here. Sorry guys. Trying to get the damn feeler gauges. They're stuck together. That's another thing that'll really screw a guy up. When two feeler gauges get stuck together. And you set it to like 30 thousandths instead. If you had a 13 and a 14, then you'd be sticking them both to, you know, the wrong setting. See, this push rod is partially out right now. That's one thing a guy needs to be careful on. Okay. Okay, injector torque. Apparently I didn't back off the jam nut on that one. But I have no idea. I just didn't get it loose enough, I guess. Kind of weird. The jam nut is not wanting to move independently of the... So let me get another... Let's see. I got to get another wrench because this jam nut's not spinning freely on the bolt. Okay, so I got another wrench here. I got to be able to run it down. With that not turning freely, I can't run that all the way down and bottom the injector out. May not be enough yet. No, it's not. These N14s are getting pretty old. Starting to get really hard to get parts for these things. Alright, let me get my paint marker out. Let's just pick a flat here. Okay, let's say like right in here. Put a mark on the rocker and then 1, 2. So that flat right there needs to line up with that mark. Okay. I'm gonna have to really hold this one here to Keep turning on me. Most of the time you really don't even have to really hold the injectors. Usually if the nut spins freely, they'll kind of stay still on you. They're not like a valve where they're always wanting to see that son of a bitch moved a little bit right there. We'll eventually get there. Okay, go down to the C mark, so 153 will be the next cylinder we're going to adjust on. I got an old FL70 Freightliner coming from a ranch on Tootie Lake. Sounds like it needs a clutch. Curtis called and said it wouldn't move. Let out on the clutch and it just tried to creep a little bit and wouldn't move. So I said, yeah, it's must have all the friction material smoked off the clutch. There's C mark. Remember, C mark's going to be either 3 or 4 companion cylinders. Now, these inline 6s is companion cylinders. Remember, companion cylinders, just add 2 together. You got 1 and 6, 3 and 4, and 2 and 5, and always equals 7. Pretty simple. What did I do last? 14? I can't even read these damn things. I don't even remember which one I did last. Yeah, 14. So we'll do the intakes on this one. Okay, screwdriver. Then we got to put the Jake heads on and set the Jakes. I know I'm going against what I told you earlier, but I'm going to leave them out so I don't dig through these every time. I'm just going to have to pay attention to what I'm doing. There's 14, there's 26, there's 27. I'm going to just have to pay attention. I'm just tired of digging through them all the time to find the one I need. And then they getting stuck together and unpeeling them. Eating up more time that I don't have. And this one can be kind of difficult to torque the jam nut down because the intake horn's kind of right in the way on you. Okay, will this nut back off freely? Yeah, kinda. Yeah, some of these older ones, if they've had the valves adjusted on them numerous times over the years, I mean, a lot of guys will, be honest with you, will over tighten some of the adjusters and stretch the threads on them. Let's put a mark right there. And 1, 2. line up that mark. Hey, this nut's turning. It's a good thing. I'm gonna hold that one just in case. Darn it, can't get on it. Okay. Always grab them and make sure they're tight. So going back around to the 1 mark, and it's just, you know, so obviously we're going to be doing number 6. Let's see, 1, 5, 3, 6. So, anyways, 6, 2, 4. Okay, another thing that I like to do after I get the overhead run to make sure that I didn't make a mistake and get a push rod out of the clam follower hole that's not aligned properly or something like that is I like to go at least probably 2 complete revolutions. Make sure nothing hangs up or binds up on crankshaft rotation. So there's the C mark. We're going to be coming back around to the A mark. Number 1 again. We just went past the A mark. A lot better to feel it by hand and catch the mistake, and then start cranking on it and screw something up or bend something or what have you. Now I'm probably just gonna pull. Let's see, did these? Where's the engine fill on this one? I was wondering if it might just be easier to pour it in straight through, pour the engine oil with the valve cover off, straight through the top. Might be a quicker alternative to pouring it through the fill tube. Well, must have done something right because I couldn't even turn it over before with the settings they had on it. They got to a certain position and it would just bind up and you couldn't even turn it. Everything seems to be turning pretty good thus far, so I'm happy. All right. What I think I'll do now is I'll put the pan plug back in it. I drained the oil because I was fishing around in there with a magnet trying to get that piece out, and I never could find it in there. I think it's up on the shallow end of the pan somewhere where I can't get to it. I could get to it through here when I had the front cover off if it would have went down to the deep sump part of the pan, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, Jake brake adjustment. Okay, so back here's your slave piston. Your slave piston has kind of a little fingers that sit on top of the exhaust valve bridge. So we're going to 23 thousandths feeler gauge. Just adjust them on the same cylinder that you would be adjusting your valve on. If you were on number 6, just number 6. Hopefully this slave piston does not ask for reparations from me, because I didn't do anything to it. Don't blame it on me. I didn't do anything to you. Damn it. Having trouble here. I had notched this feeler gauge for some piece of shit John Deere or something I was working on, where those John Deeres, you can't get a regular feeler gauge in anything. So you gotta notch your feeler gauge to get them in there, or buy their special feeler gauge from them, you know. Oh, now I dropped the ratchet onto the ground. Oh, wonderful. Slowly getting there. Wonder if I take this thing. Having trouble here. Put her right there. Probably good enough right there. Okay, let's kind of see what happens here. I cracked the line coming off here and cranked on a little bit right here where it comes out of the fuel shutoff solenoid and goes into the fuel lines, which goes to the head, and cranked on it and started puking fuel out there, and I tightened that back up. So let's see what happens. What's the oil pressure gauge? Hey, there it goes. Good oil pressure. Uh-oh, what's leaking there? Do I have these backwards or something? I think I do. I think I got these backwards. I think I do. Well, I just noticed something as I was inspecting the top end, that this center jake head, the gasket curled up on one end. See that gasket there curled back, and it's not sitting. It'll leak and you'll have problems. So let me fix my screw up here. I wonder if this little 3/8 goodie will take that loose. Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, let's fix our screw up here. Get under there where you belong. Go to your home. Don't you want to be home? Don't know why you wouldn't want to be home. Okay. Okay, I have confidence that maybe that will not leak now. I don't think I screwed anything up. Get out of there. Okay. Now we torqued them to 75 foot-pounds now. Again. Glad I caught it though. I'm just happy that I caught it. Because he probably wouldn't even started leaking until he got going down the road away from here, and I'd have probably had to come drive down to him to fix it. Okay, 75. I'm pretty confident that we can put the valve covers on her now. Number 6. Started cutting cylinders out one at a time with Insight, and number 6 is not doing anything. And so I called the owner and told him, and I told him I had an idea. I said, let's swap number 5 injector with number 6 injector. I said, I think it's an injector because it has a nice even crank. It may not now because I think I pulled the injector out, and we'll see if I got fuel in the cylinder. But so I swapped number 5 with number 6. So I'm a little bit concerned because it's the same cylinder that was misfiring that had the bent, screwed up push rod. So I'm a little bit worried it might have caused some valve damage. But when you're cranking, it sounds really nice and even. There's no uneven crank. So I don't know what to think about this right now, but we've got them swapped, waiting for Insight to boot up, and then we'll fire it back up and cut them out again. Let's go ahead and see if it'll, let's just go easy with the push button. Yeah, it's got a real nice even crank to it. It's definitely missing. Get Insight booted up here, and we'll cut them out again. We'll cut number 5 out and see if it makes any difference. Okay. Come on, wakey wakey, eggs and bakey. Come on. Should ask me for a work order. Okay, there we go. So, shouldn't be any fault codes. No fault codes in the ECM. Let's go to ECM diagnostic test. Let's go to cylinder cutout test. Next. Start. Let's cut out number 6. Number 6 cut out. Number 6 is missing now. Let's cut out number 5. Number 5 is not doing anything. So the good news is it didn't damage the cylinder. It needs an injector. Okay. Shut her down. Let me get an injector for it. Well, sorry guys, I didn't film that. I've been trying to do this and answering 35 phone calls. It seems like I've been on the phone with organ fuel injection, some other, well, anyways, got the injector in it. Got a little bit of a ticking noise. I'm not sure. I might double check, make sure my valve blast is right, but weed burner or what? Sounds good. I'm gonna That's what an N14 is supposed to sound like. Instead of not hitting on one hole. I'm gonna pop these valve covers off and run them around the accessory drive marks and check my valve lash one more time. I think I found my problem. That should be an intake, and I can tell you right now that's too damn loose. I think I put a, I bet I had my head up my ass and ran it as an exhaust instead of an intake. I bet that's what happened. That's what the ticking I'm hearing. So let's check it with a 27. Yeah, that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. Um, 14. What it should be. So if that one's 16, then this one should be 15. There's no way in hell that that's 14 thousandths, I'll tell you that. Yeah. Okay. And while I got the rocker or the J-CAD off, I might as well check number 3. We'll run it around and check number 3. I already checked these two when I had this one off back here. Sometimes you gotta double check your work, make sure it's right. I don't need this thing coming apart and having me on the hook for the whole damn thing. Okay, that's better. Oh, I don't know. Well, this week it's just been this damn weather, guys. I'm just kind of tired of it. Kind of tired of the weather. That one's okay. That might be a little bit loose. I might just kind of just cinch it up a little bit. That's better. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the engine around to the next mark. So I'm on 153624. Be back to the A mark to number 1. I'll just grab those and check those. Okay, I got this J-CAD out of the way. So this one should, that feels like 14. This one here, you can't hardly get your fingers on it. That one's about 27, I would say. So 153.5 would be the next one, so we'll skip it. We'll go around to 153. I think I found my loose one. Okay, let's check number 3 now. I don't know about that. Seems a little bit loose on that one too. Yeah, it's just last week weather was absolutely gorgeous. This week it's just been horrible. Raining and snowing and you name it. Absolute shit. Better. Go ahead and cinch it down just a little bit. Okay, it's tight. Alright. I like that a little better. I like that more better. Check this one here. Okay, that one's good. Now let's put the rocker box back on. Watch my fingers. The jake wire back in. Here comes the fucking rain again. I'm just gonna cinch these down real quick. I'll go back and torque it, but I just want to start it and see what it sounds like. Grab this valve cover here, that way it doesn't fall on the ground and scatter the bolts everywhere. See if my ticking noise went away. Make sure you pull that ratchet off that accessory drive. Sucks when you forget to leave that on there. It makes a hell of a noise. Bang! Every time you turn around, damn weather, I'm telling you. I don't hear no ticking now. We got it. Okay. Well, golly, man, I gotta shut my doors. Son of a gun. Damn weather. Okay, valve covers on it. Okay guys, that's the finished product. Sounds good. back her out of here, and that'll be the end of this one.